Ramis Jonutsi was killed at a home in the Melbourne suburb of Brighton East in October last year. Craig Jonathan Levy and Ryan Smart pleaded guilty to manslaughter. Levy was sentenced to a 7.5-year jail term, with a non-parole period of 4.5 years. Smart was sentenced to 9 years jail, with a non-parole period of 6 years. Mr. Jonutsi, 36, had extended his stay at the property and was beaten when he was unable to pay. During a plea hearing last week, the court heard Mr. Jonutsi died from compression of the neck and blunt force trauma to the head. Justice Andrew Tinney said Mr. Jonutsi had been cruelly and senselessly taken away from his family and loved ones. In sentencing Levy, Justice Tinney said there was every indication that this attack was a protracted one with multiple applications of blunt force to his head. "Your involvement was no mere observer," he told Levy. "You did nothing to render assistance to Mr. Jonutsi," Justice Tinney said, adding it was an entirely unwarranted attack on a helpless victim who had done nothing to deserve it. A third man will face a trial over his alleged involvement next year. The court was told that, on the day of the attack, Levy had restrained Mr. Jonutsi while he was choked and thrown against a wall. Levy took Mr. Jonutsi outside, where the attack continued, and Mr. Jonutsi promised to call his boss to see when he would be paid, the court heard. While he was lying on the front lawn, he offered to check his bank balance and used Levy's phone to do it. Mr. Jonutsi checked his account, Justice Tinney said. There was only $6 in the account.